Morning, morning, everybody. Michelle is here on this Sunday, March the 3rd, 2024. What? March the 3rd? Wow. Time is, it appears to be speeding up sometimes for me as well as I'm sure for others. It's like things are always happening at a pace that is difficult to keep up with. And I suggest that that we be very mindful of that, mindful of how we are spending our times and putting and where we're putting our efforts, and make sure we ask the questions of whether it's relevant or not, because it does matter. There is time factors to everything. No matter what anyone tells you, there is a time limit. Time is important to make sure you're using it properly and that you're not wasting it. I hope my face is clear. It's like every time I do a video, everything looks fine once I push the button, the video, and then when I go back and review it, I have stuff all over my face, my nose, and whatever. So I put out a video October the 14th, 2023 about Medusa, the feminine energy. I put that out October the 14th, 2023. And this is storytelling time. All right, this is based on my experiences, my theories and opinions. Okay, storytelling. And so as a storyteller, because that's what I rather call myself, because if I call myself anything else, it becomes an issue. It's almost like competition. If I say I'm a visionary, there's going to be a competition of who's the better visionary. If I say I'm a messenger, there's going to be competition with who is the better messenger. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make it very simple. Okay, storytelling is simple. It's based on, and I'm reading it here. It says sometimes it's portraying real and sometimes fictitious events. Okay, that's what storytelling is, and also it incorporates literal, figuratively, and metaphoric concepts. It's an opportunity to be what? Thinking. That's what storytelling is. It allows you the space to think, but everybody is so extreme about everything. Everybody's extreme about everything, that storytelling has lost its value as well. Because it says here, it is a social and cultural activity of sharing stories. Sometimes sometimes there's some improv involved, embellishment, and every culture has its own narratives. Did you hear me? Every culture has its own narrative. So that's why it's so important to control it. Control your narrative. Control your stories and share them. Share your stories. Okay. So I put out, like I said, I put out that video October 14th, 2023 about the feminine energy. It's after I had gone to a I can't even talk. I had gone to a bookstore and I saw this sculpture. It was a vintage market or vintage flea market type, and I love those because sometimes you can find some jewels in those kind of places, So I went in there and I saw a depiction of Medusa. All right, Medusa, my goodness. And so I put out a video sharing my concepts and my theories and opinions about Medusa. The feminine energy is what I call her. Okay? She's that feminine energy, that sought after feminine energy that is attempting to save us because we are so extreme in all facets of our beingness that we are on this planet, we are attempting whether intentional or not. Okay, it's based on behaviors and actions to literally, let's say this, literally destroy the feminine energy. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. What I would do is listen to the first video I have out on Medusa. Listen to that first before you consider, jumping into this conversation, because this is like part 2 of it. And like I said, you have to put things out in bits and pieces so that people can understand exactly, so that people can think. So we can instead of making stuff great again, we need to make thinking great again. When you're reading stuff, I told you read to absorb information. You read to absorb the topic of what you're reading so that you can bring it inside of you, into the innermost being of yourself, so that you can then cultivate your storytelling, your experiences, because you need experiences. If you're reading properly and thinking properly, you recognize that when you are taking in knowledge via books and via being taught something, you realize that you need experiences to absorb it properly. Otherwise, it's just being memorized and being regurgitated. You're not absorbing it into your innermost being to allow it to stir up inside of you, to kind of cultivate inside of you, so that and as well, you open yourself up to the experiences to know what it actually means. Reading a book and not having experiences is almost wasting your time if you're not incorporating experiences with reading those books. A lot of people say they read a lot of books. Okay, that's fantastic. But are you absorbing it? Are you absorbing the material? And you absorb it via experiences. Okay, so you can read 1,000,000 books, but if you're not going out and experiencing life, being around human beings, whether we behave as such, that's irrelevant. You still need to socialize with each other. Then, you're wasting your time on the books. And I know a lot of people have books in their houses for decorations. Let's just be clear and effective about that and not be offensive, not be offended. So, storytelling. That's what I'm delving in on this Sunday, March the 3rd, 2024. And give you some of my theories and opinions and my stories and my narratives. I'm controlling my narrative by sharing my narratives. And I hope others consider the same. All right. I know these glasses might be I hope you can see my eyes. I look into my eyes now. So the feminine energy, the most sought after is, and the most under threat on this planet at this time. The feminine, because of the attempts to destroy the feminine energy, that's how the cultivation of the negative energy and the negative forces were allowed to exist. And even though the cultivation of the negative and the negative energy and force involved, quote unquote, women, but they are that degeneracy of the feminine energy. Okay, if you go back to that video I put out about Medusa, and it's just about feminine energy in general, feminine and masculine energy, all of it can degenerate. All of it can become deviant, and all of it can become dangerous as well. And that's where we are. So I put out a story, based on how I am absorbing the knowledge that I'm taking in. Like I said, it's based on portraying something real and something fictitious as well. You need that in your thinking mode. Okay, in your thinking mode, you need the abstract, which can be fictitious because abstract is what? Abstract. Okay, you could bring in some real events, real experiences, subjective opinions, objective opinions, concrete. What is your modalities when you're thinking? All of that stuff has to be incorporated into actually thinking. And I told you, if you're not actually thinking, and if you're not thinking properly, you're going to atrophy. You're going to experience atrophy, which I'm being taught and understand is synonymous with dementia. Atrophy will cause your brain cells to die. And then what? Okay? So all you have to do is pay attention to people you love that are experiencing dementia or some type of thought-related illness that can come in many forms. But again, I'm going to leave all this to the scientists and those that are, quote unquote, experiencing these fields to open up your thinking modes. Allow other thoughts and opinions to come through. Allow other information to come through. See if you can cultivate, contemplate, but no one has to know that you're doing that. That's the point that I'm attempted to make as well. No one needs to know you're doing these kind of things. The silent approach, or the aloneness approach, or placing yourself in solitude is the proper way to do this. In other words, no one has to know. All right. So the feminine energy, that is where we're running into the battles with the feminine and the masculine, because we're so extreme, and also because we don't really understand either or, honestly, right? There's an attempt, though, unknowingly, or, well, let's put it this way, intentionally or not, to have the biological female has to be subjugated, objectified, be submissive to non-biological females. And we have non-biological females attempting to tell a biological female how to be a biological female. Is that what we're up against now? So if you take this on clearly and effectively, how are biological women being treated? Pay attention. Okay, so does that sound like they are protecting the biological female? I say not at all. If you pay attention to how the biological females have been erased from all books. Okay, the Constitution says nothing and did not have anything in there about how to treat biological women. Okay, so there is an attempt to suppress the feminine energy, which is usually housed by biological females. Okay, but it also has to be neutralized with the masculine too. And that's vice versa. The masculine energy has to be neutralized with the feminine. But what is happening is the non-females, the non-biological females, are attempting to subjugate and give a definition to how a biological woman is supposed to behave and act. So they are under the delusion that they are the ones that ought to come forward and tell biological women how to be biological women. So if that's not a sign of craziness, number one, and if that's not a sign of self-hatred, number two, I don't know what it is. So we all know, based on all of us who have taken biology, that there is a biological man and a biological female. Okay, and then also there's this neutralization of the male and female. Let me say it right. So this is going to touch some nerves and offend people and blah, 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 blah. you know, and it has to be said. Okay, we need to start speaking clearly and effectively and not be offended. You know, people are going to be offended whether you, because of our degeneracy, okay, and our deviancy and our behavior we are in a state of behaving inhumanely, meaning we're not acting like human beings. We're more monstrous than ever. So there's going to be monstrous behaviors, monstrous actions because of that, because of our extreme. We're so extreme about everything. It's going to kill us. And I mean that literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. Kill us in our consciousness. Okay? So, from biology, we know that we have biological females and we have biological males. Okay? And we also have this other term. Let me find it. I'll find it where there is a, here it is. Just make sure I pronounce it. And this is natural as well. All right, let me make sure I get the term right. This might be a long video, y'all. So you can look at this at your leisure. Like I said, I prefer you listen to part 1 first about Medusa, the feminine energy first, and then be concerned about this one, part 2. You can come back to it at a later date. So I'm gonna put a lot of information in it, but take your time attempting to relate to it. It's just like anything else, you know, when you're reading a book or when you're listening to stories, or you know, you want to take your time and make sure. Hermaphrodites, okay, they belong in that biological male, biological female, and hermaphrodites. Okay, all right, they all belong there. Now, I'm not talking about anyone's sexuality. Let's take that out. Let's suspend talking about sexuality, please, because we're confusing it. We're making it all meshed together, infusing it together, and it's creating massive confusion, and it's killing people as well in their consciousness, and literally people are dying because of it. Okay, all right, people are dying because of their sexuality but that's irrelevant. It is, and I'll explain it as much as I can in bits and pieces. So I'm gonna load this video with a lot of things that you need to contemplate and cultivate. Before though, however, you need to suspend your ego, suspend your beliefs, you suspend all of that stuff so that you can be clear and effective, take it off the impersonal, and just roll with me. Okay, and I know that there are people that are, and they understand what I am attempting to do. They are my silent advocates. You know, they're my silent supporters, and I appreciate you. You make this worth it to me, because I know that you are paying attention, and I know you're listening, and I know you want to understand too, right? Because that's what it's all about, understanding what the hell is going on. All right, so let's get back to the feminine energy. So in the first video, I discussed about, you know, I call them lost angels. A lot of people used to call them back in the day before we understood lost souls. Some say that they're wanderers. And what I say is that they are, okay, like I said, we all have spirit forms. And what I consider these are as wandering spirit forms. Okay, see if you can pick that up. And they're wandering because they're looking for a place to what? To evolve, a proper place to evolve. At the same time, they elicit themselves to come onto certain planets to help. In other words, that spirit form is there. It reborns personalities with that throttle feminine energy in order to help balance it. Okay, to help balance the energy on the planet. The planet has to have a balance of feminine and masculine energy. But what we have on this planet is massive confusion. That's what we have. And it's confusion in our consciousness. And so our behaviors and actions reflect it. So our term, our wordings, and that's why I say words are so important. Words can be indoctrinating you, and you don't have. And there's this 4-letter word that is constantly indoctrinating people. But I'm not going to say it. I mean, it's a 4-letter word. Okay, the last letter is an N like Nancy. That word is indoctrinating people over and over and over again. But I'll let you figure it out, and you contemplate, cultivate, because every time you say it, you're putting yourself in a trance. I'm just making that very clear. And that word has been around for thousands of years. Okay, so anyway, and there's thousands of other words out there, as I said, that have lost value, and all they're doing is indoctrinating you. You know that the value has been lost. They no longer have the genuine sounds and tones, to be beneficial to you. All it's doing is putting you in a trance and indoctrinating you. And these are these certain words that have been around for thousands of years, maybe millions of years. And because we never went back. Oh, in other words, we're not elevating our language. We're not elevating our words, and that is necessary on a planet as well. You need to be constantly elevating your words, elevating your sounds and tones, elevating your language to make it more cohesive, make it more meaningful, and has a way of neutralizing the consciousness and not indoctrinating the consciousness. Okay. So the feminine energy. So I said we have biological females, biological males, and we have the hermaphrodites. I cannot say it, but you know what I mean. In the middle, where they have the same. Let me get it out here. Okay, this is not sexuality. Let's make this clear. I'm talking the feminine. I'm talking about the male and female, human beings, which they ought to be called. And they process both male and female reproductive organs and structures or tissues. Okay? That's actually natural, but it has not. I'm not talking about sexuality. Don't confuse it. Suspend it. Suspend your sexuality for a moment here. So, let me just make sure I hear that word again. Hermaphrodites. Gosh, it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to make me, and I told you about how I have issues sometimes with enunciation, and there's something going on with the jaw, and this also has been going on since I was a young child. I had issues with my speech. I don't know. It's not so much of stuttering, but it was like the enunciation and making sure that I am speaking clearly and effectively. And music helps to do that as well. And I'm so thankful to a music teacher we had in elementary school. He used to love to play Earth, Wind, and Fire. He used to play the piano, and he was always teaching us how to enunciate and pronounce words through music. So he would play the piano, and then he'll play, and he loved Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then he would, it helped, just to help us to speak clearly and effectively and be understood. That is the most important thing about language. That's the most important thing about knowledge. understanding. And that's the most important thing about what I am attempting to do, just to help you to understand based on my experiences. So the feminine energy is, in my opinion, non-biological females are attempting to redefine what a biological female is, or what biological females are, because of their degeneracy, because they don't understand their own masculinity, and that's usually males. And I'm going to make that very clear and effective. Okay, and that's where we always seem to interfere so much. We're interfering so much in the biology of who we are, because there are certain segments of our society that have self-hatred for who they were born to be. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, and there were songs out there that said this as well, that I was born this way. Okay, what does that mean? Born this way. Okay. You have to talk to the person to put the song out. You know, everybody knows this person. I don't need to say their name. But did this person ever put a meaning to that? It says here it's a message about promoting self-love, acceptance, and equality. It emphasizes everyone is unique, beautiful, perfect, just the way they are. Are we depicting that as true though? That is hypocrisy, because that's not true at all. We're not accepting that, even though that's her message. Okay, but we're not accepting that message at all. Otherwise, why would we have all this cosmetic surgery? Okay? So we are spinning ourselves into massive consciousness. Our consciousnesses are damaged. And there are some that are in an abyss of their damage to their consciousness that they cannot be rescued, cannot be saved. Okay, because we have all of this misunderstanding, on top of confusion, on top of contradictions. That's a contradiction there. And this is what we're supposed to be teaching our young people. You tell them that they're born this way, but that's anything but true. Okay? I do everything in my power to understand people. And our behaviors and actions are in so much of a contradiction of what we are saying to ourselves, apparently. We're so unconscious, I should say, about what we're saying to ourselves and what our behaviors reflect. You know, some major mega superstar was just exposed recently about lying, basically. They were lying. And I told you, people are going to get exposed. Okay, they talk about this, we talk about loving ourselves and that we're born this way, and that we're talking about self-love. And it's just massive confusion and contradictions, because just because I say that I'm a woman must reflect that in my biology. Is that correct or not? Just because you say you're a man, doesn't that ought to reflect that in your biology? So we're attempting to rewrite the rules on biology. And that's the interference that we constantly are. That's the because of our interference, that's why so many people are just going to be lost in an abyss forever and ever and ever. They're not going to come out of it. They're stagnation, developing in their consciousness. And on top of that, at some point, there's going to be some atrophy, meaning dead brain cells. And then that's going to be, they're just going to be swirling in an abyss. Yeah, they have all the human features. They look like human beings, but anything but. More humaneness and more monstrous than ever. Okay? So we need to clear up the contradictions, a lot of, and stop lying to ourselves. And not think it's not going to get picked up. People are not like, wait a second here. And that's why I say I appreciate my silent advocates, my silent supporters, because I know, okay, this is not a belief. I know a lot of you are questioning, okay, what the hell is really going on here? And I want to I want to clear up something I said on one of my videos. I love teachers. Okay, I know teachers have their hands tied, in these elementary schools and these middle schools and the high school, because they are being suppressed by these so-called administrators. And they're being told how to teach. And that's why I say, but I know teachers are creative. Okay, I had creative teachers. And that's what you have to work with. You just have to be creative and attempt to figure out, okay, what is really going on to make the best impact to your students. Because there's not much we're going to be able to do about this negative energy of administrators, supervisors, presidents, vice presidents, the so-called elites. They're there suppressing all of us. And that's why that force of energy, that force of negativity is there. Okay, I mean, if we had the right equipment, we could see it. The right, because it's a radiation of force. It's a force of radiation, energy, that some can be seen with the naked eye. If we had the right equipment, or if we had advanced our vision, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. Okay, so there is, and has been, for decades, hundreds of years, to suppress, subjugate the feminine energy and redefined it. Okay, I don't know if I told you, we were taught that there was a certain country, and I'm not going to say the country, that of biological men, okay, who were attempting to bring in some reproductive equipment just so they can give birth to babies. Okay, that goes against the grain of creation. That's so if that's the case, why do we need biological men? If their whole quest is to, might as well have been a woman, a biological woman, is my point. And so where does a biological man fit into these equations? So many are attempting to, and they don't know that. They're so focused on the feminine energy, they are weakening the masculine energy. And that's why you find a lot of feminine, I say feminine, a lot of people say effeminate, whatever. I call them feminine straight males. Okay, that is a degeneracy. You need to be neutralized with the masculine and the feminine. You can't just be exclusively, when you're biological man, you're a biological man. You're biological male. When you're a biological female, you're a biological female. Your sexuality is irrelevant. Okay, so protect the biological woman. Because without biological women, cultures will not exist. civilizations will not exist. There's measures, and a lot of, and where, if necessary, but I won't say that. I said it once in a video, and people are eliminating themselves. Let's put it this way. Listen to me very carefully. There are some people that are intentionally attempting to eliminate people. Okay, but more so than ever, there's more people eliminating themselves because of their consciousness or lack thereof, or a proper use of. They are eliminating and replacing themselves. Okay, and I said because of the massive, so think about this real quick. As I've said, we are massively, massively, massively overpopulated. Okay, with human beings, toys, military toys, equipment, buildings, all of that. Not to mention individual materialism. Okay, that interferes with the development of consciousness. That interferes with the evolution of consciousness, because we are all energy, we're all atoms, and we're crashing into each other. We're short circuit, and we're just frailing all over the place. So that's why there's massive confusion and massive. And so what happens is we're passing the baton, but then we are incomplete with our responsibilities and accountabilities as human beings, because we believe that we need to be growing and growing and growing in massiveness of everything, massiveness of people, massiveness of equipment. Enough is never enough. Massiveness of attaining money, property, materialism. We are under the illusion that we can just grow, and our planet is a limited. Our structure of our planet, it has limited space, and so the planet cannot grow. So what happens when you outgrow something that is the structure and has a certain amount of volume that is required? I told you about the planet in 2007 that was destroyed because of overpopulation. There was another planet called Nisan, Nisan. That planet was destroyed too because of overpopulation. And all of those potential personalities via their spirit forms are here on Earth. That energy field is circling Earth. And I told you we have 120 billion spirit forms of energy waiting to be reborn, to continue with their evolution. Because until we raise our vibration, no other planet will touch us. In other words, no other planet is going to save us. You need to understand that and understand what that means. Just like a house. That's why you have signs that says there's a certain amount of people that are allowed in a restaurant, in a building. And if it goes over it, that there's a potential of what? Collapse. So, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically, we are collapsing. Just like we are in destruction. This is literally happening right before our eyes. But no one wants to accept that. And that's fine. Okay? But with each planet that has been destroyed, if they haven't destroyed the planet, like Malona completely destroyed their planet where there was no one left. But then there are planets where, and I'm sure they were warned about it too. I'm sure they were warned. I'm sure advanced human beings from outside the universe were warned them too. But because of our need to be better than we are, more humane, even though want to be more human, but we're savages. in the true and genuine sense. I think people are recognizing who the savages are as well too. So a lot of people know what's going on. My Los Angels know that. That feminine energy. Okay. That feminine energy that is properly neutralized with their masculinity, but they bring along this specialness of their femininity that is desirable to a lot of people that are not properly neutralized. So they see this feminine energy as, believe it or not, they're objects to them, via the feminine. They see them as objects, and at the same time they see them as threats. It's a craziness of their consciousness. They see that feminine energy as something very desirable, but they also see it as a threat, and they want to destroy it or give it the meaning, and then on top of that, give that feminine energy their own meaning of what it is. It's a dangerous combination while suppressing the masculinity. Nobody wants to. There's a lot of biological men who do not want to engage in their masculinity at all. They rather be targeting the feminine energy because they can't control themselves. They can't control that masculine. They're afraid of their own masculinity, basically. And what that means. And the reason why there's this confusion and mass confusion to that is because of overpopulation. All of our energies are banging together. A lot of people that are reborn, they haven't properly neutralized their masculine and their feminine. So they come out confused. You're a biological man, but in your thoughts, in your consciousness, you're telling yourself you're a female. There's a contradiction. Accept it. Okay, do not get upset with feminine energy or biological women, because I've described myself. This is how I describe myself. I am a biological woman who has neutralized her energy. Okay, but I display the masculine energy. Okay, and so I am therefore attracted to the feminine energy, and that can be vice versa. Okay, I am very confident in accepting that I am a biological woman. It would be disrespectful for me to pretend that I know what it means to be a masculine man. Okay? And I've said that in many of videos. It's disrespectful because I do not want to be a man. I remember when I was younger, and that's where people are missing opportunities. When you are younger, of course you're going to be confused about whether you're a man or a woman. You're developing. You're supposed to equalize it. Okay, but we have the biological parts to make it clear and effective. Regardless of what I'm actually thinking, some of us are just not thinking properly. That's a consciousness under development. But we're making it into gender or sexuality, or more so sexuality preferences. It's just massive confusion. Okay? So do not get upset with biological women because of that. Okay? Any more than any getting upset with biological men. We all know that it's more geared towards the degeneracy and the deviancy of biological men. Okay, instead of getting offended by that, ask yourself, how can I resolve this? Again, when you are a young juvenile in your puberties, of course you're going to be confused about your sexuality. I was confused about mine. I thought I was a boy for the longest. Acting like a boy because that's what I was told. I was supposed to, I was told that if you are attracted to females, that feminine energy, that means only biological boys are supposed to, it was just massive confusion. Instead of this being confident as guardians, being confident as parents, and allow individuals in their puberties to work it out. When I got 18, I worked it out. I realized, wait a second here. I am not a boy. And as a matter of fact, I think they're disgusting. And that's what I meant that. I had brothers. In other words, it became logical who I am, what I am, and why I am. It has nothing to do with my sexuality preferences either. It has nothing to do with that. But it's about, you have to take it to the you have to take it to the core of your biology and ask yourself, okay, what's going on, and clear up the contradictions. We have reproductive parts for a reason. But yet people want to go in and interfere, and if we allow people to properly develop themselves in their adolescence and not just, dismiss everything and think, oh my gosh, we need to go to the doctor. Oh my God, but it's too late now anyway. What I'm saying is actually too late. The damage has been done. But I just want to make it clear to those of you that resonate with me and understand me, somewhat, that and when people start, and that's why I say I do this for the future. I do this for my future young people, because after my passing, after I pass my baton over, this personality in myself will be dissolved. But as I pass the baton over, I'm passing it over to a completely new personality that's going to have the essence of who, and I point back here because I point back to the pineal gland, but that person is going to have the essence of my knowledge and the knowledge from my past personalities to, in hopes, evolve even more, because until we raise our vibration, I'm telling you, no one from outside the universe is going to save us. And that's where 3999 comes in. Okay, but I have a feeling, that because we are learning that in 3999 there will be certain human beings from outside our soul system, outside in the universe, that will come through and save some people, take some people away from here. Okay, but they have to be at a certain vibration. Collectively, we are below standards, okay? And they're not going to take 10 billion people plus. That's not happening. Maybe one here, just think about one here, 10 here. They're going to take them away, and they're going to have them living in their universe, because they've done the work to evolve their consciousness. They're at a proper level to where it's safe to take them away, so to speak. Does that sound like a fantasy? And I also think that may happen sooner than later, to be honest with you, because of the state of our planet. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm throwing a lot in this video. Just take it in as much as you can. Listen to it again and again if you need to, or if you want to. You don't have to. Remember, you have free will. But the feminine energy is what's sought after because of the imbalance on the planet. The degeneracy, the deviancy. So some want it, but a lot of people want to destroy it and attempt to redefine what it is. Protect the biological woman. Because without the biological woman, there will be no other. There will be no culture. There will not be no society. And you cannot, you can artificially do anything. And that's what we're doing. We can go into the caves and in back offices and be concerned about the biologicalness of a human being, mixing up formulas and inserting them into females. And who knows what's in those mixtures? You know what I mean? You understand me? There's always males doing that, majority of them. Doing the mixing and. So, protect the biological woman. Otherwise, this planet will not exist without it. And consider and contemplate what I'm saying without taking it all personal. A lot of you know that there's something is not right. And some of you have been asking these questions for a long time. No matter if you're religious or not. Doesn't matter if you went to a religious institution or not. You still have questions, and you ought to. There's a lot of hypocrisy and contradictions. When you tell someone, okay, I was born this way. All right, if you were born this way, why would you mutilate yourself? And then tell actual, genuine, biological women, okay, that they have to accept your definition of what it is to be a biological woman from non-biological women. Protect the sports of biological women. Why not? Make it safe for biological women to exist and go into a bathroom without being concerned about this or that or the other. Those are logical expectations of a society. We need to protect all of ourselves, but we need to protect the biological woman. And it doesn't, like I said, has nothing to do with your sexuality. Your sexuality is something in your consciousness that you have to cultivate, okay, and also, more importantly, accept. Okay, but that's free will. That's free will. So, all of our sexualities are going to be in question because that's where we take it. We're taking it there. We are disregarding our biology, though. And so we believe, and that's fine. You can do whatever you want. That we can interfere with the biology of life. It's like interfering with the tree of life and mixing and, because if you're thinking clearly and effectively about things, again, to me, it's all about unknowing who you are, what you are, and why you are. And at the same time, projecting what someone ought to be or how somebody ought to act. And it's insanity. All you have to do is take it off the personal. Please take your ego out of it. Take your beliefs, and develop values. Okay, develop virtues. What's love to you? What's hate? What's self-love to you? What is self-hate? Okay. We can still love each other and accept each other regardless of how we are born. And we can manage somewhat what people are thinking. Okay, but at the same time we have no idea what people are thinking. Okay? That's something in itself. But you cannot continue as you are. And you know who you are. To say you're born this way, but yet you are attempting to interfere with the development of biological females, biological women, and put your stamp of approval on what it means to be such. because you are suppressing your own masculinity, because you have self-hatred, because you haven't neutralized your masculinity properly as a biological man. You have to. But a lot of you refuse. You are so focused on the biological woman that you are approaching a sort of reality of stagnation, of course, the continual degeneracy to where you're going to cause yourself to go extinct because you are operating inhumanely. Take it as you accept it. Like it or not, that's not why I do things, whether you like it or not. I'm just attempting to help and save people as much as I can based on what I'm being taught. And it's based on logic, too. It's based on being reasonable. And it's based on being rational. And remember, thinking is synonymous with meditation. You want to be observant. You want to be focused. And understand what the hell is going on here. I'm an advocate for biological women. Okay? And I specialize in biological black females, black women, because I represent such. But when I say represent, it doesn't mean that it's exclusive. These are still my theories and opinions. So no, I don't represent that. I come from the experiences of it. Therefore, I know. Okay, so this was a loaded video with a lot of things, and that was the whole point. Sometimes you have to take it there. You got to take people to these uncomfortable and stuff that makes them swirl in their seats. But like I said, you can take in all of everything I'm saying, but no one has to know. That's why I say don't comment on my videos, because I want to protect your privacy. If you want to like it, you can like it, but at the same time, you really don't need to do any of that. I know I resonate with certain people. I know I know where my range and how far it goes. And sometimes there are difficult things to do, difficult things to say, and you just have to suffer some of the blowback, because people are going to blow back against this when I say, that the reason for so much confusion is because we're trying to incorporate sexuality into our biology, and that's not how it's done. Your sexuality is a development in your consciousness or lack thereof. Has nothing to do with your biology. But so because of our lack of development in our puberty and in our adolescence, we have made things so extreme, and then in our overpopulation and all the energy of everybody, penetrating and interfering with our thoughts and our consciousness, we see what we want to see, whether it's clear or effective. We are making up we're turning our fantasies into this free fall, and we want to trust that our fantasies meet our reality, and that's anything but. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. I'm definitely going to say more. What I want, again, do not listen to this video if you are in your feelings, in your emotions, if you cannot suspend your ego, you cannot suspend your beliefs, suspend your convictions, and all this other stuff swirling in your brain. I do not want anyone that is having difficulties with fantasy and reality to be listening to these videos, and they don't. I'm putting this out to the people that resonate with me. They understand what I am attempting to do, because they're part of it too. But they have to do it in a creative fashion. You have to be creative, and you know how to do this. You know how to be creative, but yet get the message out. Okay? So, peace and love, everybody. And trust me, I'll be back.